Mike and Ron. Here to help. Here to help.
Not everybody is going to be a fan of our podcast, okay? And if a person who cannot tell that there's a third person in the room just because they can't see them,
that might not be the people we want to listen to.
They're probably not going to like what we have to say. I'm just going to throw it out there. You know, what's your opinion on that?
Well, first off, and
Yeah.
that's one of the things.
Are we recording?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
One of the
gosh.
things
We-
that
just
I've
started.
always had an
Hold on,
issue
we-
with. Let's just keep talking.
Yeah.
One of the things that I've always had an issue with Trump is I have less problem with Republicans. I have more problem with Trump as an individual. Like, if I was, again, I'm a comedian. If all of my audience was mostly racist, I would view it as maybe I should change my comedy. Maybe
Yeah.
that's not a good
Yeah,
thing.
right.
For him to look at his audience and be like, yeah, why do the Proud Boys like me so much?
Right.
Why is it that people who espouse white supremacy think I'm such a good guy? Maybe I should do some looking inside of my own soul.
Well, what they've done, what that part of America has done, is they've mastered the art of whataboutism
Yeah.
and false equivalency.
Yes.
So they can convince themselves that their racism isn't racism. You know, I don't think a lot of those people think that they're actually racist.
Because the thing that they
I'd agree.
the thing that
yeah.
they do, in my opinion, which is it's a little bit of a turn. Like if you watch Fox News, one of the things they do is they never actually talk about people. They talk about culture.
Right.
They'll sit there and say, we've got to stop hip hop culture.
Right.
We've got to stop
That's what I'm
woke
saying.
culture.
They're the masters
Yeah.
of that. You know, you take the word woke. Black people used to use the word woke to describe white people who understand black culture, who understand black needs, you know what I'm saying, who understand people of culture. You know, this motherfucker's woke, you know what I'm saying? We're woke. We're for black people, we're woke to the system.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Aware.
It's aware.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It had all these different variations and flavors of what woke means, but it was a general consensus that you're not some fucking goddamn douchebag. You actually have an awareness about you and about the racial sensitivities and all the different biases, right? All the biases that are in the culture, regardless of who you are. But now you have, again, the racists, the Ron DeSantis of the world, and these guys, they've had to take that, you know what I mean, and change it into, oh, these guys are just, now you can't say anything. No, you just can't be racist.
Yeah.
It's real simple.
Mhm.
And so, oh, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Mike and Ron, here to help.
Mike and Ron here to help. Recorded
we're-
in the heart of Hollywood.
In the heart of Hollywood. I need to
The heart,
explain
baby.
to you how prestigious that is.
Yes.
All right? We are blocks away from Netflix,
Yes.
blocks away from Paramount,
Yes.
blocks away from all this, this Sunset Studios, Gower Studios, Oprah, blocks away from Oprah, Funny or Die, Jesus Christ. The place that we're talking to you from, ladies and gentlemen, right now is the equivalent of a fucking Egyptian pyramid, okay? It is as fancy as you can possibly imagine, okay? I mean, it took eye retina scans and palm readings from psychics that are over 700 years old just to get into the fucking building. Mike, would you agree?
Well, I mean, I look like me, so apparently they just let me in. They didn't ask me to do any of that
It's
stuff.
privilege.
They
You
just-
didn't even buzz the
Yeah,
door.
yeah,
I didn't even
just
buzz the
showed
door.
up.
The,
Yeah,
do-
it's
the door
privilege,
opened up like in Star Trek. It just went.
White privilege.
I just walked right in.
That's why they have you come from the side door.
Yeah,
That's fucked up.
Yeah, all that
That's-
security
yeah.
was actually that wasn't
Yeah,
that wasn't
that's
anything
fucked up, yeah.
normal. Whatever.
So I think we can talk about that in the next podcast. That's for sure. That's an issue.
One of the
You
things,
know what I mean?
every time I come to Hollywood, and again, if you've never been to Hollywood, first off, it is a place. Like everyone always has it as it's an idea. It's an actual
it's a
place.
town.
It's a town. It's a part of a town.
Yeah,
it's
And this
part
is
of Los
East
Angeles.
Hollywood,
This is
technically,
East
and this is
Hollywood.
West
The more
Hollywood, yeah.
interesting, the more interesting part of Hollywood. But the part of Hollywood that I would say, this is more of the Guns N' Roses "Welcome to the Jungle" part of Hollywood.
Oh yeah.
Not the premieres and the beauty part of Hollywood and all that
Yeah.
kind of stuff. And the thing that people kind of, I always hear when like you see national anything and they always talk about like, oh, because the Hollywood's elites. And I'm like, well, first off, the elites don't live here.
In Hollywood. Nobody in Hollywood goes to Hollywood Boulevard.
Yeah.
I think
It's like going to Times Square if you live in New York. You don't live.
It's not even. It's not even that equivalent. I mean, you can at least pass through Times Square, but fucking goddamn Hollywood and Highland.
Yeah.
No one goes there. Yeah. And I think when people come to Hollywood and they're like, "Oh, I want to go see the stars on the Walk of Stars." I mean, I think it has to be one of the most disappointing things about someone who has not been to Hollywood. If you come to Hollywood and you get there and you're like, "Oh." So it's like bacon wrapped hot dogs.
Yes.
These poorly dressed
superheroes
sweating in the 100-degree sun. 3 T-shirts for like $9.
Yeah.
And yes, they have the Chinese theater, which is cool.
And where they have the theater where they have the Oscars.
Yeah, they have a few things, but it's like once you're there and you're like, take the picture. Why are you there anymore? I mean,
that's why my idea is, and this can because again, we're here to help.
We're here to help.
Here's one of my ideas to get Hollywood to that next level.
Poppin'.
Right. First off, close off car traffic for like maybe 2-3 blocks in that core group.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And make it that open containers can go for it.
I like that.
Like Bourbon Street.
I like that.
So now you hook up the bars.
Right.
Yep. You hook up. Now you can go in the middle of the street. It's like a 365-day Hollywood entertainment festival.
I like that.
Because now you have, and then you have the shops and you have the cool. So when you go to Hollywood and you come to like that street, and I'm talking just where like the stars, the stars on the Walk of Fame are there.
Right.
Like where Jimmy Kimmel is and shit.
Absolutely.
If you made it right there and you made that kind of like a party district where you're celebrating the entertainment industry and all that kind of stuff, I think that would really kind of take that, because right now it literally, if you
trash.
When my brothers came here, I literally I drove through it.
It's trash.
I'm like, this is where it is. There's the theater. There's that. That's where Jimmy Kimmel is. Boom, boom, boom. Great.
And I will say, for a tourist, it's really cool to drive through. When my first time in the city, I was like, oh shit.
Right.
Yes,
it's
it is
cool.
Right.
And I never went back.
We do get a little.
There's nothing there.
Well,
there's nothing like you said. First of all, I agree with you 100%. If you were to block off all those areas and just turned it into like a very where you have different types of events going on during the days and you're just blocked off, I think that's a fantastic idea. Yeah. Or just turn it over to black people.
Well, you could block it off and turn it over to black people.
Absolutely, because we're going to have the music. That shit will be popping.
If you turned it over to the gays and the blacks,
right?
That give it 6 months.
And when the way he said the gays and the blacks, we just want to be clear. He was speaking generally in regards to the communities of which I am both residing. Okay.
I said this when I did this podcast. I go, I'm kind of always covered because I can just say, and if I say it in front of him, I can. Then it's like he can punch me. I'm within. I'm in punching distance.
Here's the thing. Mike and Ron here to help. Okay. There's being disrespectful. And there's having a conversation.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. And yes, you're going to have word police and people out there who are always going to bitch about the way a person says. Blip, 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 blip. But the reason why I joked about it because it shouldn't care. It shouldn't matter. You know what I'm saying?
And I'm being honest. If the plan would come together in which the gay community and the black community would work together and say we're opening up bars, we're opening up.
You give us 2 square miles and we'll turn this into the hottest place on earth. I promise you.
It would literally become. It would become a high. Because have you guys ever been to Bourbon Street?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I've fucked all over that street.
Yeah, exactly. Least surprising thing in the history of the world I've ever heard. But the thing is like, the reason why I think about it is if you go to New Orleans, everyone says, oh, you got to go to New Orleans, got to go to New Orleans.
You really do.
Outside, you got to go. But because of like essentially 5 restaurants and Bourbon Street.
Yeah.
But that's it.
No, there's
that's the reason you go to know everything else in New Orleans. It's kind of a rundown town.
Yeah.
It's
smells like hot.
Yeah, it's
hot piss.
Yes, it's very humid, and so which is not a very good thing for big men.
Oh yeah.
And so, but like if you
sweat.
Same thing with like let's say Vegas, outside of the Strip, and outside of like downtown Las Vegas, that whole thing where they have the screen above you.
Right. Yep.
It's Phoenix. It's a hot desert town.
Never, and I love Vegas.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
Vegas. I love Vegas's comedy scene. Vegas has
Yes.
a great comedy scene. I love all the. There's a lot of great.
I love
comedians out
sports
there.
gambling. That's what I love.
There's a lot of great comedians. There's a lot of great comedians and a lot of great shows in Vegas. Shout out to all those guys, Manfred. You know what I'm saying? All that.
Yeah.
But that being said, and then you have like the casinos that you can stay in. And, so it's always great to be able to
Yeah.
stay
Oh,
in a
yeah.
casino. They always have great deals.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? For like from $59 to $100 a night, you can get a great room. You know
Oh,
what I'm saying? And it's you go for a nice meal. And so Vegas is good for that.
Yes.
But moving there is out of the question.
Yeah.
I mean,
Outside of the two streets.
any place with 118 possibility of 118 degrees of anything
For a month. For like 2 months.
I don't care if it could be for 5 minutes. It's
Yeah.
just like
Yeah, my
It's-
brother,
it's-
he's
it's not-
in the Air
it's-
Force. He's stationed out there.
yeah.
Okay,
it's-
So
cool.
I can drive and go see him, but dude, we leave every time we leave. We have bloody noses. 'Cause
Yeah.
it's so dry.
Yeah, it's
Every
exactly. Plus
single
it's
time.
dry. Plus it's dry. And I've actually hiked the Red Rock Mountains that are out there. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Dude, dry, you right the fuck out.
If you're out there at nighttime, you can see Vegas. It's like a little diamond. It's a beautiful area. You forget how beautiful America is in a lot of cases.
Oh, one of the greatest things that I've ever done in my life, and one of the things I'm very proud of, is when I drove from Pittsburgh, I drove through, and I'd never been in the desert. I'd never seen like the Rocky Mountain, whatever. So I went through, and the drive from, let's say, Oklahoma
Yeah.
through Texas, through New Mexico, through Arizona, through that, and then to LA. And then when you take the trip from LA to Vegas, because I've done that a couple times,
Absolutely. That's a gorgeous
the
trip,
mountains,
Oh,
the
yeah.
the deserts, everything like that. It's absolutely
Yeah.
just beautiful.
Yeah.
But the point I'm trying to make in terms of like, again, sectioning off that town is the one thing that I've noticed about this place, and I think it's one of the reasons why the whole country kind of has a snarky attitude, is that everything that is great about Los Angeles, it just is. It's nothing anyone worked on. Like if you go to New York, they'll be like, oh, it's Broadway. Well, someone had to set up Broadway.
Right.
If you sit there and say, oh, well, it's the Empire State Building, someone had to build the Empire State Building. If you sit there and say, what's great about Los Angeles? The weather, the beach, all those things that were there anyway. So it's not something anyone had to work on. And it's not like when you talk about like the Hollywood Boulevard, pretty much that happened kind of organically. And I'm saying that this town needs to do more things where it's like, okay, actually, let's set something up to when if someone drives to this town or someone comes to this town, we actually have a place to where they congregate and meet, and
That is
it
true.
raises their
Because
expectations.
we use like all those great old theaters that are downtown, that are either like halfway abandoned or like they're selling diamond and jewelry shit, and you only have a few of them that are actually open, like the Globe Theater. There's like a good 15 gorgeous theaters.
I got a
up
message.
and down Theater Row down there that does not, and we don't have that type of theater community here.
I got a message from, I guess there is now a movement to turn those into, theaters again.
They have to be. I mean, they're
And
beautiful. Oh my god.
you want to talk about a guest that I'd love to have on? The people with that movement
Yeah.
to talk about those old theaters. Because that, again, when you sit there and you move in here, you don't know that.
Right.
That
Yeah.
literally they could have a second Broadway there.
Yeah,
They
I
could
mean,
have national.
It
touring.
used to be that way.
Yeah.
It used to be that way. That's why they're there.
But
You know?
again,
Yeah.
it
We've
would.
got enough actors.
Gorgeous ones, beautiful
Yeah,
ones.
not enough actors in Los Angeles
Yeah,
to feed.
beautiful. Yeah, yeah.
But
exactly.
the thing is again, it would require us to try.
Mhm.
And I don't think that
yeah.
Los Angeles really likes to try. Like it's
Well,
just like, well,
yeah,
when it does it great. That's one of the reasons why it didn't have an NFL team for 25 years,
You know what I'll say?
because it required.
I'll say
trying.
This. I'll say this. The thing about LA, because the three industries that are huge here are entertainment, sports, and medicine, and then you'll say like legal, right? Those are those.
Well, international trade comes with
Right,
legal.
Yeah,
and
but
stuff
you
like
but
that.
you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
those are the underpinnings of what makes LA happen. You have two things about LA that you don't have on the East Coast. One, you do have that extraordinary weather. So when you bust your ass all day, you see what I'm saying? You go to the beach, you want to relax. And so we have the culture here is like any sun state or any beach community. It's like we're like a huge beach community, this Southern California,
Very chill.
Very chill. And my understanding of what I've heard about how the financial collapse happened and where like Koreatown, lost all of its, glory and what before it was Koreatown and, all what happened in those theaters downtown. That was like economic and financial collapse that drove everybody out of those areas. And for so long, because everything was happening in Hollywood at the studios in Burbank, they neglected downtown. They neglected these areas. You know what I mean? And
Because there was no, it wasn't like
Well, they
towns where there was.
yeah, they were
in-
focused. They were truly focusing on movies.
Well, they were
Yeah,
truly
and
focusing on
TV,
spreading.
Yeah, and TVs,
Yeah.
and TV shows. But in the world of entertainment,
Yeah.
they were focused on TVs, TV shows, and movies and
Yeah.
sitcoms. And this is what LA's been for a very long period of time.
You could live in. I've said this to people who have planned vacations here. I go, you could have a great week's vacation in Southern California and actually never step foot in Los Angeles proper.
Absolutely.
You could go to
Absolutely.
Disneyland. You
Yeah,
could go
yeah.
to Santa Monica. You
Absolutely.
could go to
Universal
the
Studios.
Universal Studios. You
yeah.
could go to Pasadena and the Rose Bowl.
Santa
you
Monica,
know?
Venice.
Yeah, you could go Santa Monica, Venice. You
Right.
could go down to San Diego.
Yeah,
Whatever.
absolutely.
There's so many things that you could do without actually going into Los Angeles. Whereas if you were to fly into New York City and you really wanted to spend a week in New York City, you're gonna stay in New York City.
You'll never go anywhere. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's
I'll
so-
say so, but you know what? If you don't mind,
Yes.
okay, I want to change the tone a little bit.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
We have two things we want to address. First, there was a shooting today.
Yes.
And next, I'm in love with Greta Thornburg, the 20-year-old high-functioning autistic activist.
And then we'll end with a little bit of
snuggling.
But
Okay, yeah.
talking about. I want to get your take on a
pillow
couple
talk.
different pillow talk,
Yeah.
but a little bit of we got a little bit of thing about cancel culture.
Oh gosh.
Are we gonna do
yeah.
cancel culture first?
yeah.
Which one are we doing first? Are we doing
Well,
Greta?
let's jump into the shooting real quick. Let's talk
Yeah,
about
shooting.
this guy. I know Mike came in here. Mike? Listen,
I gotta pull up the
and
shooting
ladies
stuff.
and gentlemen, I want you guys to understand something, because when you see me do stand up, I profess to be the Jane Goodall of the white man, and I have with me. Here, two white men are here now with me in this room and part of my podcast. Or our podcast.
Our podcast.
Our podcast. Sorry,
Our podcast.
And
It's
so,
Mike and Ron
right? Yeah,
are
and
here to help.
Our
With
right?
Travis.
With Travis, right? So and so what I'm doing is these are my white men. Okay, I don't mean to. Does that sound possessive?
Very.
Okay,
I'm about it. I like it.
I don't mind it.
you know what I mean? Yeah, this is, right. And so just
I'm like any white person. Anytime a black person calls me cool, I feel good for the whole day.
Whole
see,
day.
and so therefore, and you got me to where my point. This way, these two white men are not going to kill today. Okay, they're going to leave here. They're going to be happy. Okay, it's like, and you can't cancel that.
Yes. No way to cancel it. Now let's start.
I
Very
was-
ironic. We
I
were
was
talking
I
about.
was rambling and I lost my point. But go ahead.
Don't
Just
worry.
talking about owning a couple of white.
Oh
big,
yeah,
big
you're
ass
all-
white
yeah.
guys.
You're, or you apparently you're very possessive of your whites. Anyways,
Well,
so
I don't know where that happened. That's
on a more somber note, there
Right,
was a
right.
mass shooting in Los Angeles area
Yeah,
today. We
yeah,
are
another
we are
mass
talking. We
shooting.
we are recording this on a Sunday.
yeah.
Congratulations to the
And
Cincinnati
it was,
Bengals.
It was in an
Yeah, baby.
it was in an Asian Lunar New Year party. So
Yes.
so this is a clear Asian hate crime. I'm going to considering that I'm not part of the LAPD.
Considering that an update is an Asian man was the perpetrator.
So it's Asian hate on Asian hate.
Yep. And he apparently, the last we understand, 10 people are dead. 10
Yes.
people are in the hospital. So when
Yep.
you're listening to this, that might change.
And I was wrong.
Yes.
Mhm.
And also,
Still at large, I think.
But
no,
2
he
hours.
has he's
Did they catch
but
him eventually?
the bullet in his head is large. That is,
Yeah,
Oh, did he
yeah.
off himself?
Yeah,
he
off
was in a
him.
van
Yeah,
in Torrance. They
yeah.
found him with a bullet in his
Yeah,
head.
Damn.
So, yeah, he's gone.
Well, I'll say this is it's so unusual.
By the way, I really like how both of you got both major parts of this wrong.
Yeah.
So I was really,
Yeah.
really impressed
Yeah.
with that.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know. I didn't know.
Yeah, I was assuming that it was
I-
a white guy. To be honest with you, I was being
Well,
racist.
most people assume if there's a mass
Yeah,
shooting.
yeah,
A
yeah.
cracker's
Honestly, and this
involved.
is what's
I
sad.
thought it was an old white guy as well
Yeah,
from the
absolutely.
picture.
Here's
Yeah,
what's
yeah.
sad about it. A good percentage of people were hoping it was a white guy.
I mean,
No,
Yes.
I don't think so. I don't
Yes.
think so.
Yes.
I don't think so.
A lot of people on the left immediately went out and said that exactly what you said. Oh, this is Asian hate. We've got to stop this.
Right,
Probably a
right.
white guy. Blah,
Right,
blah, blah,
right,
blah,
right,
blah.
right.
And I'm not celebrating that it's not, but there is a situation where
You have a point.
Yeah,
You have a point. We have to-
definitely there's a significant amount of people. Watch if
See, so ladies and gentlemen, I just want you guys to see how
Okay.
I was able to validate the white man's point.
Yes.
Okay. He was correct. He's been validated.
Yes.
Okay. There's no need to argue.
Nope.
Okay. You know, and are we on the same page now? Mike
we're
and
very much on the same page.
Mike and Ron are here to help, baby.
Very help
You know what I'm
help
saying?
each other, to be
Help
honest
each
with you.
other. And because he's 100% right. And I did the same thing. I did jump to the conclusion.
Yes.
When I heard that it was a shooting, I was like, another white guy that walked in and killed a bunch of poor Asian people. And here you have a mentally ill Asian gentleman who has killed Asian people, and we don't know the motive as of yet.
Yes, we don't know the motive.
But I will say this: the second point that I was going to make is that until we as a country start to do something socially and legally, like in laws, to change the dynamic, to put, you're going to continue to have these things.
Okay, be specific.
You know, you have like things like Kyle Rittenhouse getting off. You have there's a lot of signals. You know, when you don't pass laws and you keep the guns in the market, there's a certain signal that it's okay to be in that space. And people who are not well, they take these little cues, these little things, and they blow them up into in their mind in ways that we don't see as being possible, but it absolutely the fuck is. And so, and then again, you have, because they're looking for glory. Part of what they're looking for is they're looking for glory and recognition.
Yeah, I was going to say the fame.
You know,
I think
and
they're
the
looking.
fame.
I think they're
Yeah.
looking for control.
All of that. It's all
Yes.
part. It's all part of that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If you were listening to Kyle Rittenhouse's testimony, that's exactly what it is. He's delusional, and his entire need to feel important and all this other stuff is being fed by this, this thing, and now he's a poster boy that you can actually get off with that shit. You know, and I think, and I'm not saying that that's the reason. I'm saying that because it's obviously we have a mental health issue in this country, and there's a very complex situation and all the good stuff. But there is a reason why this is a problem in the United States, and we do also have the worst healthcare in the country. You know, such a poor healthcare system where mental health is not taken care of, where people don't have a proper social safety net. So when you do have mental health issues, you can easily get on drugs and then slip off into the netherland of fucking conspiracy theories because you're not being taken care of.
On an aside, just to bring up the fact of how shitty healthcare is.
It's
Oh, it's
horrible.
bad.
So last week, I actually did one of the recordings. I actually had a cracked tooth.
Wow.
It was a little painful, but whatever. I fought
Wow.
through. I'm a tough guy. I love this show, and it's very important to me.
Ladies and gentlemen,
proud of
we're
you.
Thank you.
We're talking about fucking effort right
We're
now.
talking about, I gutted that shit out.
Wow.
But
Now impressed.
I'm pretty, yes. But I am, again, I'm a working person who has, quote unquote, dental insurance.
Wow. There you
So
go.
I'm thinking all I have to do is call a dentist and I will be able to get an appointment.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So the next day,
Yeah.
I call up a dentist and they go, "Oh, what's your insurance?" I call up the insurance and they go, "No, you don't have the insurance." I go, "No, I'm looking at the app. You're one of the places that is in my network." And he goes, "Yes, but you selected another dentist." And I go, "Yeah, about 8 months ago when I got this, I just picked one locally. I didn't even know the guy. I just moved here."
Yeah.
And he just goes, and I go, "So what if I just pick you?" And he goes, "Well, if you can pick us, and then when the system switches over, at which point you can then come to us." I go, "When would that happen?" No bullshit. We're in January, March 1st. So I have a cracked tooth. If I were to switch and wanted to see this dentist, it would take me 6 weeks to actually do that. So then eventually I call the person that I didn't even know, but I did pick, that was down the street from me in Glendale. I go, "Hey, can I see you? I have a cracked tooth. Can I do it?" This is on Monday. He sits there and goes, "Friday." So 5 days I got to wait to get a cracked tooth.
Jesus
This is
Christ.
killing me. So I just I literally go on I Google and I find a dentist that says emergency dental. I call him. I say, "Hey, can I see you?" He goes, "Absolutely. Come on in." I go, "Great." I show up. He goes, "What's your health insurance?" I give him the card. He goes, "I don't take this health insurance." I go,
Jesus
"I
Christ.
don't care anymore. How much will it cost for you to fix my tooth?" He goes, out of pocket, probably about $500.
Sounds about right.
And I
It's
basically
actually on the low end, I'll be honest.
yeah. I think he was
It's
being
worse.
nice. And I sat there and I go, fine, do it, great. And he literally just goes, well, we got to do this, we got to do this. I go, buddy, here's $500. Let's just fix the damn tooth. Now, if I didn't have $500, which I'm lucky that I had $500,
Right.
I'd still have a cracked tooth and I'd be waiting for this. Because when I did show up to the dentist on Friday, the guy looked at my tooth and goes, oh, yeah, there's a cavity there. Let's set up a filling. And I go, when are we setting up the filling? 2 weeks from now.
Why didn't you just? Yeah. See, so here's the thing.
But and so what I'm trying to say is, imagine if, let's say, for instance, you don't have
Right.
I have dental insurance,
Yeah.
and this is the process it was to get a cracked tooth fixed.
Right.
Imagine the process it would be to actually get, if I had issues, to where I'm like, you know what, I'd like to see somebody.
Yeah.
I'd like to actually sit down with someone to work with this.
And I'll be honest with you too. Just what you also have an understanding or a competency level that is above a lot of people who live in impoverished areas who may have low earning jobs but do have health care. You know what I mean? And they're not able to get the right health care because they don't know how to ask the right questions.
Yeah.
They don't, you know what I mean? They're not informed. People look at I remember when I first got into corporate America, you looked at when somebody said they were a lawyer or a doctor, you looked at them with revere.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my God, you're a lawyer? Wow, you must be like Perry Mason, or something
Yeah.
like this.
Or you must be a genius.
Right, you must be
Yeah.
highly intelligent, but they're trash, right? You can have a lawyer who's absolute, complete bollocks, trash, right? And so, our healthcare system,
Our legal system,
our legal system,
our banking system.
our banking system is just bollocks. It's horrible, and there are people, if you are not, if you're not Mike Sasson, who has a good job, who knows what the system's all about, who understands that you could be talking to a person just because a person's name is doctor or dentist or lawyer, that you're being a complete idiot and therefore move on and to make other phone calls. You live and suffer in that shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that causes additional problems.
One of the things that one of my jobs that I've had in my life is I worked at a bank branch. And I remember when you look on the outside of a bank, you're like, man, that's a bank.
Right.
That's where people who know how to deal with money,
right.
and know the financial system and all this kind of
Absolutely.
stuff. So then when I got the job there, literally the first day they go, okay, we're going to have a contest to see how many credit cards we can open today. Push the credit cards, push this. And I go, wait a minute. That's a McDonald's that sells cheeseburgers. That's a Ford dealership that sells trucks. This is a bank. This place sells financial services, but all I was a salesman.
Right.
When you walked in there, and I wasn't there to help you with your money. I was there to sell you things.
Dude, Bank of America has been fined for more crimes over the past decade than I mean, like every
Wells
other.
Fargo.
Wells Fargo.
We all remember the Wells Fargo debacle.
Yeah,
They were
it's like-
signing up people
Yeah.
because they had no idea.
Because that was they were telling the people like I was there. We got to push credit cards. We got to push them.
City Albany. I mean, dude, they're in the every 6 months. One of those banks are in the news about bilking their customers for billions. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. But hold on. You know what? Listen,
Yes.
and if you don't mind,
Go ahead.
if you don't mind,
I don't
Okay,
mind.
because we're getting deep down the financial services rabbit hole.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Because we were talking about a shooting earlier.
Absolutely. We're just talking about a shooting.
Which,
and
by the
so-
way, I've
right.
got some van pics here.
Right. See that right there?
If
right?
we
There
flash
you
up
go.
here,
there's the,
we
and
click
there's
on the
the
van
lady.
here.
If you're listening to this, you can now
the
go-
van.
Would you wait? Go back to that. Would you assume that the LAPD would have a nicer phone?
That's a good point.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
maybe not.
I
or maybe
guess- I
that's
guess
just a
not.
tourist going
Yeah.
like, "Ooh, look,
Yeah,
Los
maybe.
Angeles. There you go."
I'd imagine.
Yeah, it's a forensic
CSI.
photographer thing. Yeah, who
Yeah.
knows?
There you
No,
go.
there
And
is-
there's
there
the
is.
guy.
There
There's
it
the
is.
man.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man,
Yeah.
we got mental health issues.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So, but
So-
here's my thing with the shooting, phenomenon in this country. You're going to hear a lot, and my thesis of a lot of the problems that we're dealing with in this country is that our technology has so outpaced our ability to comprehend its impact.
Mm.
And I personally believe that we have in this country a situation where people have, because of the algorithm, become so focused in their own kind of silo of whatever they believe, then it gets fed what you believe because they want to sell you potato chips and cars and whatever. So they want to know exactly who you are. So they just keep you in that silo. And then on top of that, they play with your emotions, because emotions are just chemical reactions that we have needed for hundreds of thousands, millions of years in order to survive. The reason why sex feels great is because they wanted, as an animal, for you to procreate. The reason why it feels great to bite into a piece of cake or any sort of food is because it was trying to encourage you as a body to keep consuming calories. All of these things are based off caveman brains. But now we are in rocket ships, but we still have caveman brains. And so you have these people, and then they're losing control, even though we have more control over our lives than we've ever had in the history of mankind. And so these people have these, again, technology, weapons that can commit mass murder in a quick and easy thing. And the other thing that I always, and again, on this show, I only want to deal with solutions that can actually happen. Anytime we talk about gun control, I'm sorry, in this country, none will happen that are that major. Right. It's just, I'm sad to say it won't happen.
I agree with a lot of your points from there. And the only thing that I would add, the only other dynamic that I would add to your perspective, is of course racism. And racism, in my perspective, is the foundational problem with all the issues that we have here in the United States.
I would open it up even deeper to tribalism.
Well, tribalism is a part of racism.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying?
For sure.
But racism in this country, the need to make sure that black and brown and people of poor origin don't have equality is so entrenched that we can't create the policy to be able to get out of the cycle. And by and large, you have these disenfranchised white male mindset people, whether they're Latin. There's been a few Latin gentlemen who have done this, but this white mindset people who are disempowered, and they feel like it's them against the world, and they need these. They have these delusions of grandeur, and desires of fame and recognition for who they are. They haven't been able to express themselves. That's a crumbling. That's all of those things are these people believing in the American dream.
And I would say, and this is why I would say, first,
the American dream is not possible anymore. You see, and
I disagree with that.
I think it is for my generation personally.
It's absolutely,
it's harder, at least
absolutely,
almost
it's done.
impossible.
For this generation,
what would you say is the American dream, and how is it done?
The American dream that is sold is a wife, a kid, a picket fence, 2 cars, a garage.
Just owning, just owning a house.
You're owning a house. And living in peace and serenity where there's no crime or very little crime. That's the American dream, and where opportunity is equal for everyone.
Well, if that's what you're talking about, the American dream, then I would say that actually never existed.
Well, that's the point.
But I would say the concept, I've always viewed the American dream is you can live your life and live and create your destiny if you're willing to take risks, and you are willing to kind of, again, move forward, and you can create a destiny that is not planned out for you.
That is what's possible for you. That doesn't exist for my people. You see what I'm saying?
I'd say it's harder, but it exists.
That message that you believe in doesn't exist with my people. You see what I'm saying? We have to find our own strength. There are so many blocks in this society for us to be able to have that perspective. We view America differently. You follow me?
I understand.
Your statement is based off of you trust. There's a foundational ability to trust. I don't have a foundational ability to trust America the way that you do. You see what I'm saying? I have to my entire approach to America has to be different because of all the things that I have to be aware of as I just go about being black.
There absolutely in no way would I ever say that my journey and your journey, we are
Not
if-
saying
if-
you're doing
if-
that. Not even trying to suggest that you're saying that whatsoever.
But here's
Right,
what
right.
here's what I'm saying. I know that okay, would you say that the life you live now is a financially more secure life than your parents or something of that nature?
Absolutely. It's important. I think
Because most people would then say you are a symbol that the American dream is alive because you've moved up in financial class. You now are living a life that you wanted to live in Los Angeles and not West Philadelphia, and ultimately created a world based on your talents and your abilities. Now, was it hard? I would never fathom how
that's-
hard it's been for you.
Right, and so the only thing and this is Mike and Ron here to help. The only point that I would want to make on that, another perspective to look at on that for anybody who's listening, is that the progress that has been made does not equate to the progress that needs to happen.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely.
And so as long as the problem still exists, the problem still exists.
Yes.
And so yes, progress matters, but in a way it still doesn't because the problem still exists. Does that make sense?
My
You know
thing
what I'm
is,
saying?
I understand that
It's like I like take the Black Lives Matter marches and everything that were happening before. How many laws have been changed because of that? Right? You know what I'm saying? And how much progress have we made? That's what I want to judge. Judge the past. We'll know, by the way, we'll know like 5 years from now, 10 years from now, what this period.
well, some people would
what-
say
what-
that prosecutors were elected, especially here in Los Angeles County, that were if it wasn't for the Black Lives Matter movement, wouldn't have been.
We also had Trump come to office. We also
Absolutely.
have, again, what we're, as for me, when I look at this country, and I love this country. There is no,
Yes.
this is not a debate on if I love this country, if there's other better countries. I've traveled a lot. I do love my country. But at that same token, I do not feel that the country loves me. Right. And so therefore there's always going to be that tension. It's impossible not to have it. And the way that tension affects a person by day, because, the moment me and you walk out of here, there is very much that possibility that I could be dragged out my car by police and beaten to near, like Andre Mulligan,
Yes.
beaten to the near to death. Those are real realities. Like women, when they have to worry about if a woman leaves here tonight and she goes to walk to her car, she could be raped or mugged or something. These are all real things that affect the way that you actually look at things, and it's important that we recognize that and continue.
We have to
work on getting rid
recognize
of
it. But again, going back to the American dream is either dead or it never existed. Here's where I feel that that's dangerous. If you live in a world where you believe that where you are in this world is where you will die and no amount of effort can change that, then you are discrediting and you're making it that somebody will not even attempt. And when you have somebody that sits there and says, why should I even try to get out of Ohio when I'm in this small town and this is what it's going to be? Why should I even go to school and try because the world is racist and misogynist and homophobic? It's just going to keep hammering me down. Why should I do it? Let's not even try. That's where I think that's a dangerous attitude where it's like, yes, it will be hard. Yes, there are institutional things we need to change. Yes, all of those things you just said are true. But when you sit there and say, I don't believe, and both of you guys, I don't believe that the American dream is alive or it never was or it isn't alive for me, then I sit there and I go, that's a terrible way to then go, and tomorrow I'm going to try my best tomorrow. That's my thing that I hurt. That's the thing that I feel.
Sure, I appreciate the perspective. I would be quick to point out, just because I don't believe in the American dream doesn't believe that I don't believe in hope. Just because
I'd kind of say what you're talking about is just baseline hope.
Yeah, it's just hope.
More than the American dream.
Again, for me, if I was walking into a store and I was buying the American dream, that doesn't exist. You see what I mean? Now, is this a great country? And is it full of opportunity? And can I be who I want to be? And all those things? Absolutely.
But isn't that what the American dream is?
That's maybe we have, and maybe therefore maybe the definition of what we believe the American dream is different.
Yeah.
You see what
Well,
I'm
you
saying?
you
And-
said a minute ago, the are you doing financially better than your parents? And my generation is the first that can definitively, collectively, statistically say no.
Absolutely,
And
and by the way, that's part of when I say the American dream is dead. That is exactly true.
Yes.
You know, Lucas. What's up, Lucas? Who is like I'm like gay Uncle Ron to Lucas. You know what I'm saying? And he's a single kid, only child to one of my best friends, and I've been around since he's been about 4 years old. He's like 22 years old now. That means, and we've
Gen
had
Z,
this,
right?
Yeah, absolutely. That means we've had this conversation. His earliest memories are post 9/11, Iraq, Afghanistan, financial collapse, housing collapse. Psychologically, in his consciousness, over half of his life has been nothing but recovering from some form of financial disaster. Then, as soon as you're about to get out of school, now you add 2 years of fucking 2.5 to 3 years of global pandemic where you don't even get to graduate. This generation has a lot of issues that we have to look at.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And so as a gay African American, where I never had the luxury of believing in the American dream. Now that I look and say, and again, I love this country and it's full of opportunity, and I would never move to another country and all that stuff. But the American dream, the picket fences and equality and all that other stuff that goes along with it, and everybody's happy, that shit doesn't exist. This is a country
And that again, I would say never existed
right
in the way that
I
view-
agree with you
yeah.
there. And I agree with you there.
What I would sit there and say is I understood the American dream to be was, hey, if you work hard and you play by the rules and you do what you're supposed to do, you at least have a chance to get better.
I will agree with that.
That's basically what
I will agree with that.
Yeah, that to me is, and again, and we talk about what makes this country great. There's a lot of countries that we don't view, and it's not necessarily China and North Korea and all this kind of stuff. It's countries in Europe where it's just like, no, you were born here. This is where you're gonna die. No, you can't do anything. I was watching a documentary on the Beatles, and they had and the name of the documentary was How the Beatles Changed Everything. And I always love those kind of like, oh Jesus, how did they? What do you mean they did?
Bit hyperbolic.
Did we used to eat air and shit? Food, whatever. We did. But but the thing is the concept is one of the documentarian who was British sat there and said, for the first time, British kids saw that someone who was from the middle and lower class, through their talent, was able to achieve near royalty.
Right.
And that's why when people talk about, and this is one of the things that gets me on when we talk about like, oh, black kids are just better at this. No, culturally, we tell them this is the only way out. Why is it that so many English kids picked up a guitar and became amazing guitarists? Because they sat there and said, hey, it's my only chance to get out of this shit.
I would say just look at the NBA or the NFL.
And I would sit there and say, as someone who played college football and had a good percentage of my teammates were black, the difference is, and I coached at a school where it was mostly middle and upper class white kids. And then I talked to parents and talked to coaches who coached at schools where it was mostly predominantly black kids. The white kids knew they had a way out, so they didn't necessarily put all their chips in the middle of the table. And the thing about when you're a black kid in Liberty City, Miami, you sit there and your entire focus is like my brother taught in a school.
Real quickly,
go ahead,
ladies and gentlemen. He has just explained white privilege.
Yeah.
From a perspective of sports.
Yep. Yes.
In a nutshell.
Yeah.
I agree.
That's exactly what it is. Now,
but I just showed you why, if you watch the NBA and you watch the NFL, why is it that most of these people are African American? Because we live in a culture where we are telling these people, this is your way out. Are you saying that genetically speaking, black people are genetically...
Black people were bred for over 300 years to be strong in this country. That's what slavery was. We were bred. Okay, we were property that was bred to be the strongest in the field, to pull the most hay, and that made genetic differences.
Then why is it that other cultures that experienced slavery didn't also become exceptional athletes?
Because they're not genetically built like black people. I mean, there's genetic differences between people. I mean, that's not. I mean, I'm not. I'm not an idiot. I mean, there's genetic differences between people. and so those differences are going to appear. Are those those types of situations are going to manifest in those people differently. But when you're talking about the black genetic, the black genetic makeup, when you mated us and bred us like that for that long period of time, that's what you got. There's a reason why the pit bull's the pit bull, and all, what I mean, breeding is breeding, right? And so so you can't discount that.
I don't. I think it's more of a situation.
A friend of mine, real
Yeah,
quick,
go ahead.
a friend of mine is a doctor,
Mhm.
and he said that generally speaking, the pain threshold for African Americans, for Black people, is much higher than most others when they go in for things like needles and surgery and these types of things. The way that they react, the way that we actually react to pain, is a little bit higher. It's and that's well known. And so those things do matter.
But here's where
Absolutely.
I think that thought process is dangerous. Is the fact that if I sit there and I watch an NBA game and I sit there and I go, well, the reason why all of the 80% of this sport that I'm watching is black is because they are genetically better.
No.
Then I watch and then I look at, okay.
It's being aware of the situation. It's not, you're not, it's like how down in Florida they're trying to get people to stop teaching about African American studies and stuff like that. It's just the way it is. It's dangerous when you don't know that exists as a possible as a source of knowledge. People are always going to be ignorant. You're going to always have somebody who's going to say blah, 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 and make all this noise about something. I don't give a fuck about those people. This is fact. And if you don't know the fact, then you can't be informed. So know these things. I mean, that's what you're looking at.
I think it's dangerous to have that thought process, because I'm telling you, if you go on, again, you deep dive into Twitter and all this kind of stuff, if someone heard this conversation, they'd go, yes, Ron is absolutely right. And that's why when 90% of the CEOs are white and 90% of the executives are white, it's because genetically they're just the smarter ones. And that's why it's dangerous to have that thought process.
If that's the case, then our brains will be more intelligent, the whole 9 yards. And scholastically, we are equal to everybody on the planet. My point being, physically, that is a factor in what you're seeing in modern sports today. And I don't think and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you will find people that can somehow say that that's not the case. But I do believe that that's a major point, along with the fact that is also a major catalyst, like you were saying, for people to get out of poverty. But I think it is dangerous not to look at how slavery affects Black people wholly. Not just financially and spiritually, not just socially, as it can be an oppression, but also physically, how it's in our DNA, how it exists within us as a people, how we're able to as a people have mutual understandings and communications amongst ourselves, because we were beaten so much. We had to be able to communicate with each other to know who's the good person, who's the bad person. There's so much to who we are.
But you understand that if someone were, again, this is why I get it. 1 + 1 = 2. Yes, you could sit there.
I get it.
But then if someone goes, oh, then 2 + 2 = 4, and that's where I'm not
worried. I'm not worried about those people. You're always going to have those people. What I'm telling to people who are able to have a rational conversation and to think clearly, this is a reality of the people that you see before you. This is our history. For that's what's been happening. That all of that is within us. From the poverty to the beatings to the genetic breeding, all of that is within us. And so if you're going to understand the Black experience, just understand that is an element of who we are. Everyone's going to take everything to wherever they want to take it. Congratulations. If you want to take a fact and like woke we were talking about earlier and blow it out to this ridiculous, that's always going to be there. This is for people to hear, to at least understand that this is something that happened. And so therefore we carry that within us. And it manifests in so many different ways. Positively, sports. Negatively, poverty mindset, white supremacy subjugation, financial inequality. You see what I'm saying? Educational inequality. All of these things are part of the same thing. And
you understand my fear of going to that place because of the fact of, like you said, there's going to be people that then take that. Because again, what was always the big thing in the NFL? Yes, the black kid can be the wide receiver, but he can't be the quarterback because that takes more brains and that takes more this. And I'm just like, I don't even want to, it's just not true.
White people, hear me now. Lose that fear and join us in the battle to stop to show more people why that thinking is wrong. I don't need to cringe to hear about the Crusades. I don't need to cringe to hear about how you're burning, how England was conquering the world and how the sun never set. I don't need to hear. We've heard all the stories of the colonialism. I don't hear people afraid about any of those stories being told again. I don't hear any of the fears of them trying to whitewash those stories so they aren't true. I don't hear anyone talking about that. What I hear about is the fear that black people are going to get the recognition of who we are. You see what I'm saying? And that's how black people look at that. This is a fact. You see what I'm saying? African American studies, whether you teach it or not, you know what? Your kid is eventually going to learn about it. Let me tell you. By the way, your kid loves black culture and they love black people. And they're going to be learning about black people from black people because black people have to continue to educate themselves. And the moment that America gets rid of that fear and says, you know what? I don't have to be a bad person to know what has happened affects now.
I also think what your fear is the science of phrenology, which is what people usually go to when you say things like that.
Absolutely.
But what you're talking about is historical forced breeding, which has repercussions in modern society, as opposed to jumping to phrenology, which is what you're afraid of, which is a valid fear to be afraid of. But fuck those people because they think
I understand.
Really
fuck
stupid
I mean,
stuff.
yes, fuck those people hard and fuck them in the ass twice.
But real quickly, and again, just to finish, and white America always has the fear, and it's not a judgment. It's not a judgment. It's almost why I want to do this podcast. You see what I'm saying? It literally gets to the core of it. There is no fear. It's only information. You, Mike Sasson, and Travis, you're not responsible for the life we live in right now. But if you don't have full information, then we can't make better decisions.
True.
It's that simple. I'm not asking you to change your opinion. Just know. It's very simple. If I go to the Midwest right now and I talk to, I'll give a story. So when I was dating this guy, David, beautiful person, and his family is from Aberdeen, South Dakota. And his family, for Thanksgiving, I came to their home and it was a beautiful situation. And I love those people if they ever listen to this podcast. But you got to hear their fears. You know what I'm saying? You got to hear their concerns, about what they're seeing coming out of Los Angeles, and their fears and concerns are valid, just like yours are, right? It's not that they're not valid, but it's really important to know that it's also just as important to know how the people it affects feels about it. Your feelings actually doesn't matter.
But here's where, again, and I have an issue, is like, for instance, the NBA. The last 4 MVPs of the NBA are European born. And in my opinion, it's because of the European system of training basketball players has superseded the American system so that these guys become better overall players. Now, 2 of those players were Caucasian, white, and 1 was black, but he was in Greece, and he's from Africa, so I don't know about his history in terms of slavery or anything like that. It's Giannis, plays for the Milwaukee Bucks, but it's one of those things to where I have this thing where it's like, I get what you're saying,
dude,
and I've read those reports and all that kind of stuff, but the problem I have with that is when I'm sitting there and I'm like, well, wait a minute, white American kids aren't winning NBA MVPs anymore, but the European with the culture and training better actually are.
So first of all, I want to say 3 things. First of all, and so anytime you have white players, they should be celebrated and uplifted, and they should be and all that. They deserve all the recognition. I'm not taking anything away from that. I'm not saying that at all. And in regards to European players versus American players, well, let's be honest, Americans are fucking lazy. All right, and so there's a difference. With the Europeans have a better education system. They have better athletic systems. Americans are fucking lazy and spoiled. Let's be honest. Let's be honest. If you owned a company, who's going to work harder? Some guy from Europe or some guy from fucking Tennessee? What are you kidding me? Some guy from Europe or some guy from LA? Be honest. We have the problem with Americans is that everything is handed to us in so many ways. If you want to talk the conservative side of me, you know what I'm saying? That we're spoiled. White American kids don't have to work hard like that. They're told that everything they do gets a gold star.
But that proves my point in a sense of, okay, you've got Darko, who is from, again, Serbia or Croatia or one of these countries.
Oh, thank God, I thought you were saying a racial slur.
Yeah, so there. Who basically
I was so scared for a second. I was like, who the? Oh, don't say
Darko
Darko.
Milivojevic.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the fact is again, that brings up the point of
that's hilarious.
Yes. By the way, imagine being an NBA player and your first name and your first, Google him.
Oh my God. I'll pull him up.
The fact that his nickname, his name is actually a could be viewed as a racial slur, but.
Oh, he's white as fuck.
Exactly, he's white as fuck. But the whole point is, but the point is the fact that he's somebody that.
And I'm not trying to say, listen, it's the point that I'm making. I'm not saying that there aren't great white players or there can't be great white players. It's like saying there aren't great white rappers and there can't be great white rappers. And we all know that that's not the case.
Yes.
One of the greatest rappers of all time is fucking Eminem.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And there's not a nigga on the planet that's not going to deny that. That's going to deny that. You know what I'm saying? So that's not what I'm saying. But did you see the French? Did you see the French soccer team?
Yeah. Yes, the French soccer team that was the colonizers all-star team. That was the colonizer all-star team.
I mean, they didn't even try to mask it.
No.
They didn't even put a gimme on the team. They didn't put a
Bring up the French World Cup to get a team photo. That was
come on.
That was the colonizer all-star team. That was
and again, and I swear to God, I'm not sure. Listen, for anybody who's listening, I need to make sure I'm being very, very, very clear on this. I'm not making excuses. I'm not trying to make people feel guilty. I am not, anything along the line. I'm just pointing out a fact of what's happened to black people in America, and where I believe that shows up in sports.
Oh, here we go.
And Africans are the same way.
Fighting me. There they are.
Yeah.
Are we sure that's the French team? Okay.
Yeah, France's players, yeah.
Yeah, French's players.
And the entire team. I mean, it's like you.
Yeah, that is the colonizer. That is the colonizer all-star
You pull up the entire roster. I was like, man.
Okay, you want to?
I think it's France. Yeah.
I'd love to find out how many of those are Muslim because the French have a problem with the Muslims.
Yeah, the holders of the term fixed side of the team.
France's players look on. That's what it says right down there. Yeah, look at that, man. Oh my God.
Well, I will say the French. I mean, okay, now we're playing into the French are lazy, and they definitely won.
Yeah,
who won? Okay, who won the World Cup was Argentina.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Just throwing that out there. I just want to,
yeah.
So
that's pretty bad.
So I'm going to, I'm not.
I will say that again. This almost brings up again. I would say that if I'm analyzing this as a fair, impartial, whatever, I would say that your perspective is very valid.
Oh,
but I will sit there and say that culture plays a more significant role than you're giving it credit for.
We'll agree to disagree on that one.
Yes.
And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, Mike and Ron here to help. That's exactly how it's supposed to go down. I understand his perspective. You see what I'm saying? I don't think I'm underestimating it because I believe that I have a firm grip on the abilities of all individuals to excel as individuals, to be the best that they can be in anything that they put their minds to. And I applaud anybody who's able to do that. I hope to be able to achieve my own dreams as well. And I don't believe that there's anything that stands in between me and my dreams. that I won't be able to overcome, and I believe that should be the same thing for everybody. And all that good stuff. I'm big on top of that.
I
But,
feel
mean,
that as this podcast develops, essentially what this will become, and I think that's going to be incredibly healthy, is the psyche of a white man and the psyche of a black man.
Yeah,
and it's
and you have a conversation.
Yeah, and have a conversation. Now, the final thing that I want to bring up.
We got to talk about Greta too.
We got to talk about Greta. Okay,
Oh, yeah.
so then do you
By
want to
the
go
way, boys,
Greta or cancel culture?
We can do them both at the same time. Go ahead.
Yeah, let's go. By the way, we're already an hour.
Okay, cool.
Exactly.
No, I mean, we're just rocking through it. We haven't even talked about anything you guys sent me.
Exactly. That's why we got to get to Greta.
It's
All right.
Let's do
incredible.
Greta. Okay,
Let's do
Greta,
Greta,
and then we'll do a
finish
quick.
Greta.
We'll do a
Finish
quick
with cancel
cancel.
culture. Yeah.
Things.
So all right. So first of all, and I have to say this. One of my best friends is high functioning.
Let me get here. She got arrested.
By the way, can we go up to the Andrew Tate guy?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
we're
yeah.
gonna
I don't even know who that is.
No, we're going to get to this. We're going to get to this. So that's what I'm saying.
It's-
Just let me run you through this. Okay. So first of all, one of my best friends is high functioning autistic, and I absolutely love autistic people. I believe that they have a superpower that every human being should wish that we have, and that's the ability.
agreed.
That's the ability to pursue, to take action, to focus and take action. And,
Obsessively.
Yeah,
Yep.
absolutely. To the level that we don't have. I mean, it's, I wouldn't even say obsessively. I think it's at a healthy level. You know what I mean? We are so distracted by so many
Passionately,
things.
let me put it that way.
Right, passionately, exactly. And so I am, this is coming from a place when I first heard of Greta, I was like, okay, we just love her. Okay. Because she's just everything that I love about like you couldn't even write a character, of a little white girl who is so like 1/3 what's that girl from the Addams Family?
Wednesday Adams.
Yeah, she's like 1/3 Wensley Adams.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? 1/3 Jane Fonda. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? And
And she's just a Swedish girl.
she's just like, and 1/3,
Orty-dorty.
right, and
Yeah.
1/3 Swiss.
The
and
fact that we are
1/3
in
yeah.
Los Angeles, California,
Yeah.
and we're two grown men, and if anybody were to go up to anybody here and go, Greta,
Yeah.
they'd be like, Thunberg.
Thornburg.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
That's incredible
And-
that she's reached that level
Yeah,
of
and
fame.
here
And
is her,
she's just turned 20 years old. She's
yeah.
just turned 20 years old.
20.
And she's being arrested in different countries now for fucking activism.
We can watch the
And-
video if you guys would like.
Right, and then on top of that, last week, and go to the other, we'll get to the video, go back to the other tab over there. And it was like 2 weeks ago, this guy, Andrew Tate, he's like a white
Oh, yeah.
nationalist, he's like a misogynist. He's just a completely horrible person who literally the week after this Twitter feud went down, got arrested in Bulgaria for underage, for female smuggling.
For human trafficking.
Human
Yeah.
trafficking. And so he tweets Greta Thornburg, a list of all the fancy cars that he has, and her clapback.
Bring up it because
Yeah.
he'll show both pictures of the guy.
Yeah,
Okay,
and
yeah,
the
okay.
clapback was fantastic. I mean, look at her; she's just fantastic.
There she is, little Swedish 20-year-old autistic girl, and
Yeah.
this big tough.
Yeah,
Well, I saw his picture. It was the concept of I have 1,500 automobiles. and-
Bugattis. He's got
Yeah.
Bugattis.
And even I was just kind of like, what a fucking douchebag.
yeah,
He's a huge
and,
douche,
And so then when she called his little dick energy, I was like, you know what? For the next 52 years, or however long God allows this beautiful young girl to grow and flourish and be on this planet, we are going to have that woman. Okay, latching on to injustice and torturing the shit out of them for the next 30. I'm fucking in glee. Okay, I hope on my dying bed she's raising hell. You know what I'm saying, to somebody, someplace, and I'll be like, "You go, Greta."
I love her, dude.
Yes.
I'm fine with her. If we lived in the world that she wants to live in, we would pretty much have to end modern society.
Well, not necessarily.
Yeah, I
wouldn't
mean,
say that,
I mean, to the level that sometimes she's talking about.
Well, she's 20. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, the reality is, here's the thing.
I agree. We need someone that is climate's
Well, I mean,
advocate.
we're technically already too late.
Dude,
Technically,
I mean,
before she was born, we
right,
fucked everything up a little too
I
bad.
think we really do. I mean, to her defense, I mean, what California's going to look like 20 years from now is a major gamble. I think we don't recognize that. You see what I'm saying?
I think
I
that
would not be surprised if parts of where we're at now is inhabitable. Because of like if the estimates for the ice cap and everything like that melting, I wouldn't be surprised if you get an inch. You're going to have part of the coast, is going to be gone.
But here's my thing with that: there's still rich
is-
people. Rich people would typically have at least a little bit of knowledge, and billionaires are still buying oceanfront Malibu property.
I mean, listen, Rome built, the story of Rome. So we have a major climate situation.
I agree with that.
And, I'm not saying that, planet, that we're all going to be burning to death. But the 20 years from now, California is going to be a lot different than it is today.
You're old enough to remember 20 years. If you would have gone up to someone in the year 1995 and said, what does 2023 look like? They were going to, watch Blade Runner. Watch these
that's more
movies.
Societal collapse, though.
But that's what they predicted. I'm trying to make a joke right now with the fact of all the movies about the future that we all grew up with are now in the past.
True.
Right.
Blade Runner was 2019.
Right.
The Running Man was 2019. Okay, Back to the Future was 2015. Okay?
True.
There's so many things to where it was just kind of like, and the funny thing is when you look at the movies, a good percentage of what they said was going to happen is what did happen. Like in Back to the Future, we call it FaceTime. We can call somebody and see them.
Well,
they don't send us a fax. It's called a text.
That means that the movie 2012 is going to happen, and we're going to have a major.
Yeah, I would also argue that
one of
those
those-
are movie writers and not climate scientists.
No,
so.
climate scientists. That's what
But
I was
I mean,
about
I
to say.
can even remember watching
movies-
TV shows where they would sit there and be like, by 2020, we will be the polar ice caps. And I'm just kind of like, and again, yes, I want to drive electric cars. I want solar power.
Yeah.
I want to get off burning dead rocks and
Breathable
animals
air.
and all that. I want breathable air. I want all that kind of stuff. Again, you'll hear this 100 times on this podcast. I'm the aspirin theory. 2 will cure your headache, 100 will kill you. I am somebody that sits there and says, let's work this out. You want this, let's find out a compromise and let's move forward.
Yeah, I don't think I don't think we have that luxury. I truly believe that the climate crisis is a little bit more serious than the general public wants to take on. I think as Travis said, I think we have passed a certain point where there are going to be certain countries, certain coastlines that are going to be dramatically affected. For instance, I've lived in California. The summertime forest fires, which is our rainstorms now, that happens constantly every summer now.
Yep.
Since I've been in California 23 years.
Just this unprecedented rain.
Everything from the rain is just
Crazy.
The 2 back-to-back droughts that we've had to the rain. That the first rain that rained us out of that first drought that was at the end of the 2000s, the early 2000s, and then we had so it's.
I agree
it's-
with all
yeah.
of you, but I would sit there and say I don't think that a percentage of California in our lifetime will be uninhabitable.
No, I think that I think
Maybe
we'll be,
Florida.
I think we'll be surprised at I think we will be very unfortunately negatively surprised.
Well, I hope we make changes that can
the
happen.
The state
And
of our
Greta, if she leads the way, then absolutely I'm
the
for
state,
her.
the state of our coast.
Let's see her get
Yeah,
arrested.
the state of our coast.
Oh, you're right.
And, yeah. Now the last thing, the last thing, and then you said you wanted to talk about.
I want to see this girl get
the-
arrested.
Oh yeah.
Here we go.
Yeah, this is fantastic. I just giggled when I saw this.
Look at that. Look at all those cops hauling her away.
Yeah.
Do they need that many cops?
Yeah, I'm just giggling when I watch it.
She's protesting a village being. Oh, look at the
Oh,
look at the photo op. Look at the stormtroopers in the photo op.
Of course, that's what you do. They're there to attract attention. They're knocking down a village to build a coal mine.
That's stupid.
Yeah.
I agree. That's
But yeah,
dumb.
essentially for coal.
Yeah, for coal?
for a coal mine. Yeah,
Yeah,
It's only
knock
found
it
there, yeah.
oil there.
Again, I love her. Again,
Knock it down
again.
for a solar farm. Do
Again,
that.
guys. I'm trying to tell you.
Build a Tesla
I am
factory.
a-
Come on, people.
I am a major Greta fan. I have to be. I apologize.
Well, you
I
don't
get
have to
it.
apologize for being a fan of something.
I get it. But now let's talk about it. We have to wrap this up.
No, okay. This is for next week because this is evergreen.
Okay, cop.
Yeah, that's how to be a real man. We'll figure that out later. Because the thing that made me laugh is day 18 is Elon Musk.
That's just ridiculous. How to be a quasi-racist.
Yeah, so that'll be next week.
How to be a South African
Okay.
racist.
All right, go to the
How
hockey
to
player.
own an emerald mine.
Yeah, go to the hockey player.
Which is this one or this one here?
No, right there. Okay, your hometown Philadelphia Flyers.
Mhm.
Okay.
I like him.
Okay. Well, he don't like you because this is you got to read this story. All right, because what happened was they had a Pride night,
Yeah.
and everybody was gonna wear Pride jerseys,
Right.
rainbow jerseys for the Philadelphia Flyers, skate around, and then sell them to help gay children in Philadelphia.
Sure.
Okay, this is a Russian defenseman. He said it's against my religion, and I am not gonna participate. And now he's receiving hell. And then afterwards, the next page is what his quotes were.
Okay, let me get to there. Sorry, boys. I'll be more slick with this as time goes on. If you're just listening, I'm clicking through things.
He's clicking through things.
Clicking
That's
through
that's not it.
That's not it. What are we talking about right
No,
here?
that one right there.
That right there. Thank you for
Okay.
pointing that out for me, sir.
Basically, they quoted him, and he goes, "Did you hear what I said?" Provolone responded to a follow-up question. Can you respect that? Basically, what he said was he called it. He goes, "I respect their lifestyle. You should respect my lifestyle."
Okay.
Now, there are people now, and then let's go to the next one. This is, you know who Tony Dungy is.
No.
Okay, Tony Dungy was a NFL Hall of Fame football coach, and now he is a commentator for NBC Sports, NBC, NFL Action, and he is at the March for Life. This is today. This is the anti-abortion festival. And he goes, tomorrow, Laura and I will be in Washington, D.C. attending the 2023 March for Life. Will be the first time the march. I'll be looking forward to joining my friend. And now Keith Olbermann is saying, NBC Sports, if you have any remaining concern for your operational reputation, fire Tony Dungy now for going to the March for Life. And
He's
then
using you is what he says at the
Yes.
end there. What does he mean by that?
because he's saying you're promoting him. You're making him he's a good guy because he's on your TV talking about football. So because of that, you're making him a celebrity. And then one more thing, he did say, he had a quote. You don't have to show it. I'll talk about it.
Okay.
Basically, in Minnesota, they're now going to put, because there are trans, girls who need it, they are now going to have tampon dispensers in both the men's and women's bathrooms in Minnesota schools. So basically, not this one because he, this just basically says, I apologize for this tweet. That's nothing. Some school districts are putting their little boxes in school bathrooms for the students who have an identity as cats. Very important to address every student need. So, as someone, we bring up cancel culture a lot.
Yeah. Because
Because of these quotes, Tony Dungy is being there. A lot of people are saying fire him from NBC Sports. And then also they're saying that the NHL player, because he didn't want to wear the rainbow jersey, should be suspended from the Philadelphia Flyers. What is your opinion? Because obviously you have a very much of an opinion about
Sure.
cancel culture.
First of all, the Russian who's against his religious belief that doesn't want to put on the jersey. First of all, he's cute, and those are exactly the type of guys that I date. So I am completely unfazed with this portion of the conversation.
he's
First of all,
Russian. It's illegal
they're
to be gay in Russia.
They're socially in Russia. Again, they're it's like being gay in Jamaica. It's a very or parts of Africa. It's just very repressed. I again going back to what I've said before, you're always going to have people to say and do things that I find distasteful. Fuck him. If he doesn't want to put on the jersey, don't put on the jersey. He's not being paid to put on the jersey. You see what I'm saying?
Paying to be a hockey player.
He's being paid to be a hockey player. You see what I'm saying? And if you don't want to bend the knee, if you don't want to put on the jersey, I don't give a fuck. No one cares.
Now with Tony
So that's-
Dungy.
So now that's that situation. With Tony Dungy, quite frankly, it's it's a different type of ignorance. Okay, Tony Dungy knows better. He was raised better. Okay, you would hope. Okay, at least now in our culture, he's being paid.
He's being paid to talk about football, which he is an
football,
eminent
right.
expert on.
Absolutely.
But now people are saying, well, he's a devout Christian,
And
his religion says that he should,
he should,
he has beliefs, and we should respect those beliefs.
But your religious beliefs aren't part of football, so shut the fuck up.
But even though he's not bringing up his religion when he's talking about football.
But your religion is guiding those statements. You see what I'm saying? And your religious guided statements they can be viewed by people. Can be viewed by people in a hurtful manner.
Or if you're the head of NBC Sports, are you suspending or firing Tony Dungy?
I would reprimand him and tell him to shut the fuck up. Issue an apology.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Again, people are going to say stupid things. I don't think he should lose his job over it.
I also think if he's dumb enough to still believe the fucking litter box and bathroom
yeah,
thing,
I mean, it's just
then he's just a fucking moron.
It's just ignorance.
'Cause that's not true.
Yeah, it's just not true. It's such transphobic ignorance. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to wear a jersey because it's, I don't believe in, I'm not gay and it's against my religion. Okay, go fuck yourself. I don't care. Now, all of a sudden, it's like, you're getting into you're joking around with these well-known homophobic, transphobic tropes when trans people are getting killed in the streets. Dude, come on.
You're also kind of, in a way, comparing trans people to
animals.
furries or animals.
To
or something
animals.
like that, which is a huge,
so it's just
supremacist dog
But this
whistle.
is where, again,
absolutely, it's a big supremacist dog whistle.
But this is where cancel culture, and this is where we talk about, because if you go on to the Twitterverse and the social media, the right-wing people are saying, see, if Tony Dungy wanted to protest, for Black Lives Matter, or if he wanted to protest, for some sort of woke, quote unquote, positive thing, then no one would say anything. But because it's an attack on Christians, it's an attack on Christians in this country, we are the ones that we are now the oppressed in this world, and we need to fight back, and that's where we need the guys like Trump and Ron DeSantis and all this other kind of stuff.
Right, and again, I mean, those people are never leaving America. All right, that is the 30% that believes that George W. Bush did a good job. That's the 31% that still believe that Trump is a good is qualified to be another president. You're never getting rid of these people. They're never Do
they have a point?
No. They're basing all of their opinions and everything off of racism. That's my point.
It's also hate.
And hate. Yeah, we just got to stop listening.
Because I feel like if you support leftist issues, most of them are, I mean, there's some dickhead leftists out there, but a leftist issue is propping people up.
Yeah.
Well, he's just being a cunt to kids.
Yeah, it's the same.
It's a little different, I think.
Yeah, it's the same thing when you're giving voice.
I mean, it's kind of sad that is a right wing. You would consider that a right wing talking point, being a fucking dick.
Yeah, I mean,
that's pretty much the Republican Party at this point.
Yeah,
that's the Republican Party.
And by the way,
fuck the planet. Fuck anybody that's different than us. Fuck everything. It used to be when I grew up, Republicans were the people that were like, "Hey, let's hold on the spending."
Yeah, I grew up in a Republican household, like small town Republican people, working class dudes who were just like work hard. Do things, and now it's like,
and do we need
me?
Yeah, and it's not. And that's where, like, again, and I will say this constantly on this podcast, I want the old school Republican who sits there and says, "Hey, we need balanced budgets and we need fiscal responsibility," and those type of people kind of back, because now we have people.
I feel like those people are gone.
No.
You want to talk about those the 30% where you sit there and say that they're the people that did George W. Bush's right. I want those. I'm going to talk like an old school. I want those old school guys I want the old school Democrats back that fought for the working man, that were pro-union, that were those type of guys.
You need to have two strong parties, and you don't have it right now for that to happen.
And Democrats aren't even really pro-union anymore. I mean, there's really no pro-union party, no pro-working class party. There's one that pretends.
Right. You know what I'm saying?
But
they
it's not a thing anymore.
Well, the problem.
That's why I think there needs to be 4 parties.
Oh,
there
I
needs
agree.
to be one party, which is the socialist Green Party, which is the Bernie Sanders AOC party. Yeah. Then there's a quote unquote Democratic Party, which is your Bill Clinton, Joe Biden party. Then there is the kind of the more fiscally conservative party, which is your Mitt Romney and all that kind of stuff. And then there's your fourth, which is like, we are the crazy fascist party, which is
literally a fascist party.
Yeah, the fascist party. They're the Donald Trumps and those people of the world.
You're on drugs.
And the people.
This country is way too uninformed to be able to support anything more than 2 parties. We can't, you know what I mean?
People like black and white.
Yeah, this country is just way too uninformed. We don't know anything.
But that's why the point of this podcast should be to inform them until we can get to the 4 political parties. And then we can get to the
That's why we're doing
here to help.
That's why we're doing this podcast. I'm telling you, the reason why we're doing this podcast is that we have to have these conversations. You see what I'm saying? Number one, we don't know how to talk to each other. We don't we don't know how to be able to have 2 people who have differences of opinions to be able to have an intelligent conversation and not walk away hating each other and not being able to express and understand each other's perspective. That is the root crux of what this is about. And then, of course, being able to explain these different perspectives so people can make their own decisions. I'm not here to change any minds. I'm just here to express a position, and I'm not even claiming to be right about everything. It's just my opinion. You know what I mean? And so take what I say and go try and figure out if what I'm saying is right or wrong, or if you believe it or not. But this is how you have a conversation about complicated things. It's okay to be energetic, be energized, be passionate. It's okay to be focused. It's okay to be all those things. Just be respectful.
I want everything Ron said, and I want to add and somehow, some way, make it in the entertainment industry, and hopefully someone notices how talented the three people are in this room.
Right, and right, absolutely. I can't argue with that. And if I could just wrap this up, for everyone out there in the cancel culture, to all my liberal racists out there who have created the cancel culture as a way for you to feel good about yourselves while not rolling up the sleeves to do the hard work that remains to be done.
Preach.
That's this podcast is for you. For the people out, for white America that believes that it's okay to vote for somebody like Trump and somebody like Marjorie Taylor Greene because you don't, and you have black or minority friends and you believe it doesn't affect them negatively because they may agree with you. But the majority of people who are in that demographic say that it does hurt them. Maybe you should try and listen to another opinion, because there's a reason why so many people are saying that. And so this is a love letter.
This is a love letter to the people that wanted somehow, some way. Did we get a second? Did we get a second sound effect?
No,
we didn't get a second sound effect. Someday,
sorry.
You know what? You know what I think.
I'll work on it for next week. I promise.
Can I give a shout out real quickly?
Can you do it while he plays that one sound effect?
Yes.
I'll play it after each shout out.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, to announce the infamous and the world-renowned legendary house DJ Sneak, will be making our soundtrack for the Mike and Ron podcast. So we will no longer have that obnoxious sound unless we want it, which will probably be often.
If I pay you extra, can you please next week have more than one sound effect?
I swear to you, I'll have more sound effects, guys. I promise.
I'm telling you, you gotta turn this shit over.
I love the fact that we had a man literally pouring his heart out on the microphones of the world. And then you basically had a sound effect that sounds like he was a Chrysler dealer in fucking Indiana.
No, it's okay.
It's just
okay.
like,
It's
deals.
Yeah, listen, it's okay. Mike.
I was adding levity.
And what's Mike doing? Mike is here to help.
Mike is here to
Roderick,
help
Mike,
and just have
Absolutely.
just emanate
Right.
goddamn handsomeness.
Right. And
that's
and
another thing about
right.
this podcast. There's
That's
some
right.
three handsome motherfuckers on it.
Absolutely. I appreciate you guys.
Appreciate you.
I think
Travis, I don't know about you though.
Have we covered everything?
I'll add more sound effects. I'm sorry.
Seriously, you were doing so well until everything was so good.
Yeah, he really is.
He was doing so well until
what
like.
but that's white guys, man. They'll get you. You know what I'm saying? When you least expect it, boom, here
So
we go.
sorry.
I'm gonna be
It's
wearing
okay.
a
It's okay.
dashiki by the end of this fuck.
That's okay, Travis. We still love you. You won't. We're not snuggling with you tonight, Travis.
Oh, damn it.
Yeah, I know.
You'd be a hell of a snuggler.
Oh,
yeah.
you know his snuggle game must be on point right there. Let me tell you something. I'm gonna get him. Let me tell you something. That's like a bear hug snuggle right there. That's warm. That's warm.
I had a woman describe me once in bed as squishy but nice. So I think
I've had that too.
Yeah, squishy but nice. So that was the working title of this podcast.
Squishy but nice.
Yeah.
No, Ron's too fit.
Yeah, I'm
Get the fitness over there.
called Daddy. Daddy Supreme, actually. Was my
Daddy Supreme.
was
Sounds like
my-
something I'd get at Carl's Jr.
It was my favorite description of all time. You're like Daddy Supreme. Oh my
That is
god.
nice.
Yeah. How fucking great is that?
It's
That is
pretty
pretty
great. It's
Yeah.
honestly should be your stage name.
Yeah.
Ron Bush is
Colton.
coming up
David,
next is Daddy Supreme.
Oh yeah. Go young Colton. Colton. if
What
you
would
ever
be on a
listen-
Daddy Supreme pizza?
Colton, if you ever listen to this podcast,
Just his
thank you.
dick.
Yeah.
Ron's cock.
Big old
Just
fucking-
Ron's
big old
cock.
Ron's giant
Big old
cock
fucking-
on a Daddy
Yeah.
Supreme pizza
Come on now.
from Shakey's.
Come on now. I am popular with the white boys. real popular.
Popular with them. That was also a working title.
I'm like
Popular with the white boys.
Popular with the white boys.
I'm like Black Chick-fil-A.
Black Chick-fil-A. Black Chick-fil-A is Popeyes.
You know, they got white boys parked out front.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
I love Chick-fil-A has moved. Chick-fil-A has moved up to number 2 in terms of fast food rankings, and they're closed on Sunday when all there is, their business model is, let's be Kentucky Fried Chicken, but clean the bathrooms. That's it. That's all their business model is.
Well,
and love Jesus.
Yeah, they've mastered less grease in their food.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
The
well,
staff
Jesus
seems,
apparently hates
happy.
grease.
yeah.
Popeyes versus KFC. Go.
Ooh, that's a tough one. Popeyes versus KFC. Oof. Oof.
Popeyes versus KFC.
Damn, man.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
I'd say Popeyes.
Really?
Honestly, I would have to say Popeyes.
Yeah.
Because of their chicken sandwiches are superior.
Yeah, they got.
Can I pull a super white move and say
yeah.
it's because of their blackened ranch?
Yeah, you just
That's
did.
super
Yeah,
white. Yeah.
yeah,
But
yeah.
Mike, it's so good.
No, what's good is their gravy has little pieces of pork in it.
Yeah.
I mean, that, you know.
Yeah, you're
there's other
Popeyes.
things.
You're pulling in Popeyes. You're
Yeah. Did we pull you over
yeah,
to Popeyes
yeah,
side?
you really did. Yeah, you really did.
KFC's
And-
good. You can't deny
Yeah,
the goodness
yeah,
of KFC, but
yeah.
Popeyes.
Do you know the KFC is really popular in Asia, like in Japan, in China. and
It's
Japan.
Christmas.
In China, and Japan.
It's Christmas.
Yeah.
Literally on Christmas Day, they eat
Yeah, it's a tradition. You
KFC.
go to KFC.
Don't they dress as Colonel Sander on Christmas?
Yeah. It's,
Yeah,
it's a big
love
thing.
that shit.
Like
Yeah.
it's huge. It's a huge thing. Yeah. yeah.
No idea.
I
You know
don't
what else is huge
I don't know
in
how
Japan?
that happened. Yeah.
You know what else is weird? You know what's big in Japan? Weird porn.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, dude. Oh, they mastered it.
Yeah.
There's some kinky bastards, aren't they? Oh my god, that's why I love
Well,
Asian, love Asian men.
That's kind of it's actually, you bring up a good
Rank men.
anti-
Asian, white, black, Latino.
nail it.
Go.
Oof. Ooh.
favorite race. Go.
Wow, that's a tough one. Damn, I'm not going to. You know, listen.
That's for another. I can't do it
I'll
that
say
quick.
this.
We'll open next episode.
We'll open next week.
with
I'll give you a
Ron
week.
ranking races.
I'll say this, which is going to shock everybody out there. Because I torture white guys so much, I choose to torture white guys because they're such an easy target, socially speaking, right now. I mean, so much needs to be said. That being, and on top of that being said, all of my two most serious relationships have been white guys. But that being said, I am definitely a United States of Benetton dater. I like them all, you know, you know, right now.
See, that's when a clapping sound effect would
I'm
be
working
good.
on it. All right,
right now I'm on a Latin tear. I've been on a Latin tear for like the past
Oh.
year. Yeah.
Latin tear. sounds
Latin
painful.
Tear. Latin Tear sounds like a punk rock group
Yeah,
out of like
yeah,
East
right.
LA.
Latin
That's a
boys.
good one.
Oh, yeah,
Latin
Latin
boys,
too.
the Latin boys, you can't get rid of them, boy. They're fiery.
Yeah.
They're
Oh,
fiery.
Oh, they're crazy. Oh my goodness.
They're
I love
muy
it.
caliente.
That's hilarious.
Mucho spicy.
They are mucho spicy.
Mucho spicy, man. Fuck it.
Yeah, give me. I want my Latin boys with two pairs of Vans, the dress Vans and the ones that they use to ride the skateboard.
Yes, dude.
You know what I'm saying? You know, you got your work Vans and you got dress Vans, you got your work Vans. That's right up my alley.
That's fucking fantastic.
Yeah.
You're married to a Latina.
Yeah, she's half Cuban.
Yeah.
Wow.
From
Oh shit. yeah.
Miami.
Oh man, yeah. She knocks that motherfucker out.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah,
She is, as I like to call it, muy caliente.
Muy
Yeah.
me, exactly.
Her,
yeah.
her right hook ain't
Exactly.
a joke. I guarantee you, I wouldn't fuck with her.
No,
now
no,
that
no.
she's Cuban, boy, she could box too. Oh hell no. That's why.
I've met her when the Cubans come
Yeah,
out.
that's why you got that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why you got it. That's why. Listen, this just proves my theory right here. That's the white guys like that shit. You
Yeah,
know
a
what I'm
little
saying?
bit, yeah.
The white guys like to get their ass whooped.
Sometimes.
Oh yeah, they like it's light bondage. You know what I'm saying? Everything about the white man's reverse psychology. What they say they don't want, but they do want: slavery, light bondage. Boom. You know
No,
what I'm
we
saying?
did want slavery.
Yeah, but you just want to be tied up, and beat yourself. I know, I get it. You know what I'm saying? That's half my
So
job.
you think when the slaveholders were whipping the slaves, they were like, God, I kind of wish that was me.
Yeah. There's definitely a sexual. There's definitely a sexual component to that.
Yeah. A dominant sexual component. for
Without
sure.
a doubt, absolutely. You're stripping down a bunch of big dick black niggas to fucking
Yeah.
beat them.
Guy's
Come on.
probably
There's
way
no-
bigger than you.
Oh yeah, come on.
Google someone who has studied the sexual kinkiness of slavery, and let's have them on the podcast.
Absolutely.
I thought you
absolutely.
meant right
But yeah,
now.
I would
okay.
I would find it. I would find it hard. I would find it hard to believe, psychologically speaking, back then that wouldn't be a component to it.
Of course.
Yeah.
Component of everything.
Yeah.
That's my thing when someone says, like, again, when he goes, You know, like when anything you bring up with America and you bring up racism, I view it the same way as like when you watch a cooking show and you sit there and you're just like, oh, is that cinnamon? Like it's in
Absolutely, yeah.
everything. It's
Absolutely,
in
absolutely.
everything.
Like it really is exactly right. And I'll tell you, we'll finish with this. So I tell people, my father, on my father's side of the family, 5 grandfathers ago was the favorite slave of the plantation owner down in Aiken, South Carolina.
That didn't. No
You know what I
clapping.
mean? And
The favorite
was gonna
slave.
hit
yeah, I know. This is hear the story,
my
right?
God.
Okay,
And
I'm hearing the story.
So we have like over 100 acres in our family, from slavery, and we had thought that he was the favorite slave of the plantation owners. When he died, he left it to him. But the actual case, when my brother did some research, was that he had knocked up the plantation owner's wife, and she had a black baby.
Shit.
And so she left with shame. And the slave stayed with the plantation owner. They were best friends. And so this, when people talk about race in America and slavery and stuff, my own family story is a perfect example of how complicated it is. You know what I mean? And that relationship, the legacy of that, just as we were talking about with the breeding, that is still in my family. It's sitting right down there in Aiken right now. And it's just crazy when you think about that, right? I mean, it's like, what a hell of a fucking story.
Also, they were friends. I mean, that just
The thing
Really
is
blows my mind, you know?
one thing about history, and I'm a
you banged my wife. And who knows if this guy
could have
was
been a
banging?
cuckold type
Who knows? Yeah,
situation.
who knows if this guy was banging his wife? Who knows what was going on back
Well,
then?
that's one
Yeah.
thing that always
But,
gets me is when
yeah.
anybody ever sits there and talks about the present, and they always sit there and say that they think that anything that is happening today has never happened in the past. I always sit there and be like,
Right.
please, for the love of God, read a book.
Read a book.
Yeah,
Yeah, you're 100%
it's
right. You're
everything
100%
that
right.
is happening now has happened for
before,
years.
yeah.
Everything,
Yep.
the dynamics of human beings has not changed much.
No.
Again, the amount of learning you're getting from this podcast.
Oh my God! And listen, and by the end of this, so by the 15th or 16th episode, my homosexual conversion therapy program will start soaking in. So Travis will start speaking a little bit more effeminate.
Yeah.
Mike will definitely be a little bit more pro gay. Like maybe his shirts will start getting a little more tight.
Oh yeah,
You'll
yeah.
start seeing more chest hair.
I was thinking more chest hair too.
Right, by
There's
there it
no
is.
earthly way you could have any more chest hair
Move the
than I
mic, let the
have.
camera
Right.
see. Move
by
the
by,
mic, let
by
the
week
camera
20
see.
by week 26, you know what I'm saying? Mike's gonna be like, girl, so let's talk fashion.
If it hasn't happened already in Los Angeles, I don't know how it's happening. Anything.
I
I will
have a-
say that I have been. I've been noticed by several people that my style game has picked up since moving to Los Angeles.
See, that's
And I would
that's-
say-
look at
And I
that.
have lost weight.
Yeah,
But I'm telling you right now,
that's good, pretty.
Still all about the ladies.
That's good, big man pussy right there. Absolutely. Shit, yeah.
all about that.
Yeah.
Those beautiful
You know what I
ladies
mean?
out there.
You
Well,
gotta-
you've lost weight, and now you don't have
Yeah.
to shop at Big and Tall as much.
yeah.
And the advantage of that is, I don't know if Ron, you were aware of the shit they are putting fat people in,
Yeah.
but it's not high fashion.
Right.
Okay, it's a lot of stripes and Hawaiian fucking shirts.
Surely.
You got Fluffy, or you got
One of
the guy from Drivers Dinings, Guy
Right.
Fieri. That's
One of the
Right.
greatest texts I've received
I
in
love
Los
that, yep.
Angeles was
I feel
he
you,
needed,
Travis. I feel you, brother.
He needed a sport coat.
Mm-hmm.
So
Oh,
he
yeah.
texts me and says, "Hey, where do you get a fat guy sport coat?" And I had to kind of break it to him. I've lost 80 pounds. And so
I thought if anyone would have a hookup, maybe
Yeah.
you'd know a close
Yeah.
place.
but the problem
you
is
know.
literally, like, again, where we're from, every mall has a casual male big and tall. Every one of them, because everyone's
Right.
fat.
Right.
You go here, you have to go to Santa Clarita
Yeah.
or West Covina or
Woodland Hills.
or Woodland Hills
Mm-hmm.
to get a casual male big and tall. Or the other one was on Hollywood Boulevard. There's like a costume shop or something that was listed as a big and tall place
That's
to get.
I know. I went.
hilarious.
I,
That's so fucked
I
up.
went to
Yeah.
that one,
That's
and it
so
was.
fucked up.
They were like, "Oh no, we just have the ability to clothe large people in costumes." And I went,
That's
"Fuck you!"
wow.
We have the
Wow.
I was like,
And-
"Okay, you have the most material in the city. Is
Yeah.
that what you're trying to tell me?"
It's like at Dom DeLuise's most.
How tall are you, Travis?
6 foot.
So you're 6 foot. Yeah, yeah. So Travis, he's a snuggler. Like he's
Oh,
a
yeah.
big boy right there. He can just.
Yeah, I got the roundness. So
Yeah,
you're way
yeah,
taller
you-
than
you-
me.
you can go
so
to
you
check.
got you got both problems.
Yeah, you can
We're
go.
used to.
I do.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
I have the joke where literally I went to it was actually I changed it to Los Angeles, but it was actually Pittsburgh, where I was trying to get a sport coat, and the guy goes, "I don't have anything for you," and I'm like, "Why?"
right,
He
I
goes,
bet.
"Because you're a subset of a subset of a subset."
Right.
And I'm like, "What does that mean?" He goes, "There's a lot of tall guys in the world. There's a lot of big guys, athletic guys in the world. There's a lot of fat guys in the world. There's not a lot of tall, big, fat guys in the world." And I go, "What do you mean?" He goes, "Well, you're 6 foot, almost 6'5". At the time, I mean, I was an athletic cut, but also at the time, I was like 340 pounds.
A lot of
And
middle.
so he'd sit there and he'd be like, "Yeah, literally, most people your size play for the Steelers.
Right.
Like that's, and they get their shit tailored.
Right.
So
Right. Yeah.
I don't literally. It came down to like 2 coats, and one of them was plaid.
Right. So, ladies and gentlemen, what he's saying right now. So, Travis, he's the type of guy you can go. You can just hold on to that. That's good loving right there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? You give that boy some dessert. You know what I'm saying? And you can probably get your way with him.
Here's what
I'm
you
saying?
get with Mike.
Now, Mike
Your
Sasson,
mom will love me.
Mike Sasson, he's like Gulliver's Travels. You know what I'm saying? You got.
You gotta tie.
He's
you gotta
like
tie him
Gulliver.
down.
You got to throw some ropes up on that motherfucker. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
Get the right.
oh,
get
when the
those-
testosterone gets going.
get
When the
those-
testo,
you
it's
know,
game time.
Get
It's
those-
game time. I
yeah.
put eye black underneath. I'm going nuts. It's going on.
Yeah.
Trust me. And a job needs to be. A job is at hand, and a job will be completed. That's what I will tell the
Absolutely,
ladies.
Absolutely. It's like taking him down is like taking down one of those big elephants in like Lord of the
Oh,
Rings.
yeah.
You know what I mean? You gotta have to. You have to see all the little elves running up on him. You know, all the little gay elves
You have
running
to
up
mount
on him.
it, shoot it,
Trying to
hit
take
it.
him down. He's like swinging the gay man from side to side. We're gonna get you though,
The
Mike.
gay- It's already happened where it's people. It literally at the Harvard and Stone.
Yeah.
I was in there, I was drinking, and then I go to the bar to get one, and this guy literally dressed almost like head to toe in sequins.
I love
Like,
it.
yeah. He turns around.
And he's probably stronger than you.
Well, he turns around and he looks at me and he just goes, "Oh my God, look at this 6'4" tower of handsome." And I literally was like,
Yes.
"Wait, you almost got me there, motherfucker."
Oh, you got me.
That was a good fucking line.
That's hilarious.
That's great.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I'm telling you, like I said, so by episode 26, you know what I mean? Yeah, this is
By episode 20.
this is actually is not a podcast. This is a social experiment being put on by
How
by
gay
by,
could
by,
we
U-
make?
by USC. Yeah. No.
The crazier the women in town, trust me, that won't be a hard conversion.
Oh shit.
Oh Jesus! One more conversation.
Can we
I'm
talk
like,
about one more thing?
Sure.
Hold on. I'm sorry. So I was
We're
watching.
at hour 9, aren't we?
Yeah, about an hour 36.
Oh my god! Okay. Last thing, I was watching how in China where they have the one China policy.
Yep.
It's like one male. It's like it's like 4 men to every 1 female
Yes.
in
Yeah.
China. I'm moving to China. That's it.
You would devastate that
I would-
whole country.
They would all look like niggas by the time I got back. The entire country.
An entire country.
look like me.
Entire country of Ron Bushes.
Yeah, they
deep voiced Chinese men.
Yeah, yeah.
Reverse Genghis Khan, baby.
Instead, just conquering Asia.
Yeah.
When did the Mongrels rule China? When did the Ron Bushes rule
Yeah,
China?
Yeah.
I'll roll over that motherfucker riding an elephant too. If I'll fuck around, trust me.
All of a sudden, it's just there's instead of a picture of Mao in Tiananmen Square, it's Ron.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is Mike and Ron here to help. Keep listening or don't. We don't care.
Listen, we do. Listen, Mike and Ron. Mike,
We really do.
Mike and Ron's here to help.
Yes, and to become successful.
Yeah, we're here
Yes.
to help, and
Help us become more successful.
Although this podcast, our second one, ran way over.
all
You
good.
can number one expect that to happen regularly.
Oh,
yeah, that
Um,
hour limit we had is
You
going
know
to
what
get
I'm
blown
saying?
by
Yeah,
in a while.
But I hope that everyone learned from this podcast. I
Yeah.
really do.
Yes.
I hope that everyone were able, that.
I will say this, and one of the reasons why I want to do this podcast, I am legitimately a better person after talking to Ron Bush.
Oh, I appreciate you. And
Yeah.
likewise, I've always enjoyed the conversations we've had. I respect your intellect.
Well, I appreciate that.
And I'm glad that you are doing this podcast with me because these conversations, the conversations we've always had at the back of comedy clubs.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? These are the conversations I've always, we need to have these.
And Travis, on the other hand,
I play one sound effect.
He's a nice man.
Sound effect.
He tries hard.
You know what? He had, you know what, Travis? This is why we have white school shooters right here. Okay.
What did I do?
They try their best. They try their best.
Imagine you trumping over the fence and you just couldn't make it.
Yeah. You know,
I'm with the AR-15.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh,
you're
yeah,
like,
no, I'm frighteningly nimble for how large I am.
Yeah,
Okay?
I
I'd
can
like to
tell.
point out.
I can tell that. Yeah. No, this, but you're like
you
bang,
run
bang.
into school and you're kind of winded, and everyone's
Yeah.
like, "Wait, let him get it out."
Yeah, you're like the big
Hold on.
boss. You're like the big boss man or Bam Bam Bigelow. You're like one of these big.
Oh, let's do an
yeah.
old school wrestling podcast.
You're one of those
Yeah.
big guys. Yeah, he's like one of those big guys that are just like fucking. You could do a cartwheel.
King
and shit.
Kong
Yeah.
Bundy,
Yeah,
yeah.
King Kong Bundy. Those guys were very
Very
athletic.
agile.
Very athletic. Absolutely. So, but yeah. So that's it. I just wanted to lay that out there.
Mike and Ron here to help by
Mike and Ron here to help. The podcast
the
found
experience.
everywhere. The experience
The experience.
found everywhere
Do it.
that podcasts are found.
Listen, mostly with your pants off.
And tune in. And if you do with your pants off, have some type of jelly or lubrication or coconut oil.
We're gonna get the jelly lubricant guy as a guest.
Well, we should. We really should.
Is that a guy?
No,
Of course, it's a fucking guy.
yeah,
mean-
yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Come on. There's,
I thought
there's no woman worth her
Oh, yeah.
weight in gold.
I don't know. There might be a female
There
KY
probably,
jelly
there
empire.
most likely there probably is. Absolutely. She's like large Mars looking.
All right.
All right.
Mike and Ron here to help.